Hello everybody, this is Sharon, and I have another folio I wanted to share with you guys. The lady that purchased this Halloween folio here, she wanted me to do one in a Christmas paper, so that's what I did. And I also did a tutorial while I was making it. I filmed it. So let me just put this up here so you guys can see it, because these are the measurements and everything that goes with the tutorial. I added a lot of things. In the first part of the tutorial, I showed this, and I added a lot more stuff to it since then. So I wanted to show the updated one. So if you want to pause this and write this down or whatever, this is some more stuff that needs to be added to it. It just tells a little bit more about the folio, the measurements, and different things like that. So I did want to give you a chance to check that out. And so this is the folio right here, and it's just like the Halloween one that I showed a few days ago. So if you guys are interested in that, I did do a tutorial on that. So if you're interested in making this one, just stay tuned. At the end of this video there will be a tutorial for it. So we'll go ahead and get started. And this is from the paper collection 'Tis the Season, this one right here. I picked this up at Tuesday morning, maybe about a month ago now. By Echo Park, and it has a lot of pretty papers in it, sticker sheets and tags and things like that in it. So I did an embellishment, one of the cutouts from the paper collection. Then I made a little bow right here from the Pink and Main, the medium bow die. Tied it with some seam binding, and it opens like this right here. It opens like this. So for this side over here, I just did it like the other ones. I used a Spellbinder's die with some of the pretty red glitter paper, and this is from the paper collection. And then I did a little place right here where she can put a photo up under there. And then on this side over here is your waterfall page. This is a Spellbinder's die here, and this is from the paper collection. And let me see if I can find a piece of paper, because this one also has some tuck spots on it. It has a tuck spot down here that you can put, you know, pictures or receipts or anything. It also has one across the top up here that you could actually tuck a picture up under there if you wanted to. This came from the paper collection, as well as this and this little snowflake. This is held with a magnet, and it opens like that. You have a couple of tags up here she can use in here if she wants to, or she can do some journaling on those. And then this side flips down like this, and then you have a waterfall page here that has five waterfall pages, so you can get 10 pictures here. And you can, if you count this one back here, you can actually get 11. And this is a little tuck spot that you can put pictures under, or for right now just have this cut out from the paper collection. And that just goes back up under there. And then on this side over here, you have another little tuck spot right here that you could put your picture up under there like that. Or you could put it over the top of it if you wanted to, it doesn't really matter. And then this just closes back with a magnet right here. And then on this side over here, I did a little booklet, and I think somebody had asked me to do a tutorial on how I made this booklet, so that is included in the tutorial at the end of this video. So I just have some more seam binding here that ties into a bow. And like I said in the other video, if she puts pictures in here, she can adjust it with this if it gets a little bit thicker. And this came from the paper collection. I have that same punch right here that I did the waterfall with, and there's some paper. I have a little angel right there from the sticker sheet, and it just opens like this. You have a place here that you could put pictures, just a whole sheet right here. Then I did a tag with a little pocket right here, and this one also has a little tuck spot down here across the bottom that you could put a picture in, or you could do receipts. And this opens this way. You have another big space here, another little pocket here, and this one also has a tuck spot right here in it. And then it opens one more time. You have a big space here and here and here. And then you can also put something right here if you wanted to. So like I said before, if you guys are interested in creating this little folio, just stay tuned. There will be a tutorial at the end. I had done a tutorial on a folio a long time ago, but this one is a little bit larger and the booklet wasn't in the other one, so it's a little bit different from the first one I did. So if you would like to check that out, you know, it'll be at the end of this video. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. So right here, I'm just going over some things that I used to create the folio. So it was several different things. It takes a good little bit of things to make these folios that you might not even, you know, realize that you have to use. But so these are just some of the things here that we used here. And I just used part of that Spellbinder's die, just those two right there. Of course, a ruler. And you have to have a scoreboard and a cutter. Then I used two different kinds of black paper from Recollections from Michael's, the 65 pound and the 110 pound. And then I picked this paper collection up at Tuesday mornings, I guess about a month ago. It's 'Tis the Season by Echo Park. Has some really pretty paper in here. It has sticker sheet, tags. I think it's 12 by 12 sheets of paper. And this is my little cheat sheet right here. Now I do go back and add some more things to this and update it. So you might not want to, I mean, you can look at everything on it, it's right. I just add some stuff to the bottom of it. Now this is your left side of the folio. This is your middle. You use the 110 pound cardstock on these because you want this to be really sturdy. And then there's the measurements for them. And then this is your right side. It's still the 110 pound cardstock. About the only time I use the 65 pound cardstock is when I'm going to do some die cutting. And that's the 65 pound there. So this is your top middle flap that goes over your waterfall. And for that one, you want to cut it at 5 3/4 by 6 3/4. On the 5 3/4 side up, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. And for some reason, the middle bottom flap, I didn't write the measurements down, so I did insert them here a little bit later on. And but I'm just going to go over those right quick with you. The bottom middle flap is 5 1/2 inches tall by 6 3/4 inches wide. On the 5 1/2 side up, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. So they give you a little tiny gusset too, as that top one falls down, to give you some extra room, so when you do insert your photos, you'll have more room in there. So, and y'all please just bear with me with my voice. I have my husband come home last Thursday. Today is Wednesday. He come home last Thursday from work sick with a sore throat and a cold, and I think I'm getting it now. So anyway, I wanted to get this video done because the lady did ask me to create this for her, and I wanted to get it mailed out in the morning. Now these right here are your flaps. You're going to have two of those, and they hold your covers together. They're 1 3/4 inches wide by 7 1/4 inches tall. On the 1 3/4 side up, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch. Then you're going to turn your paper, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch again, and that's what I'm showing you guys right here. This is 1/2 inch, and then you turn your paper and you do it at 1/2 inch again. So you have to have two of those flaps. I'm just kind of laying them out right here so you can see, you know, how it goes. And we'll go ahead and glue the flaps. I put them on the back side of the left, you know, part there. It just gives it a cleaner look when you open it up. To me, it does. So I do glue the flaps to the back side of that left part of the folio there. I have a hard time with this glue. I don't know if it is because I'm kind of sick and I just can't concentrate on what I'm doing, but I just had a hard time the whole time I made this folio, and but I finally do get it. It's just that it keeps coming unglued and everything else, so it's kind of comical to me. But like I said, I wanted to get this video done so I could get this mailed out in the morning for her. So that's your left side, and then there is the middle side there. And then we're going to do the right side with the other flap. I'm just rescoring these, making sure that the score marks are really good for that. Making sure I didn't get on any of the lines and things like that. And I always, before I glue things down, I make sure they fit, or I try to do that, because sometimes I can measure wrong, and just, you know, if you put the glue on it and you start putting it together before you see if it actually fits, then you can get into, you know, a mess with it. I mean, you can ruin what you've already got started by having to tear it back down. So I do try to do that. I might not always do it, but I do try to make sure it fits before I glue my parts down. And one thing good about this glue, the glue here, I'm using the art glitter glue. It does dry clear, so if you get a little bit of extra somewhere, it won't show up. You can just wipe it right off. So this is the top middle flap, I call it, that kind of covers the waterfall. The top one is 5 3/4 inches tall, 6 3/4 inches wide. This is the 65-pound cardstock too. And on the 5 3/4 side up, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and at 3/4 of an inch. And then this is the middle bottom flap. And so I'm just giving you measurements here on the screen again, because I'm not sure if I gave those to you guys. Maybe I'm doing it twice. Like I said, I'm kind of sick and I don't even know. I can't even concentrate on what I'm trying to do here. But anyway, that's 5 1/2 inches tall by 6 3/4 inches wide. On the 5 1/2 side up, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 5/8. So that gives you, like I said, a little tiny gusset right there. And that's just so when you adhere your pictures on your waterfall that's going to be up under there, you just have a little bit of room to grow, so it won't be bucking open and the magnets will still work. So that's the reason I do that. And then we're just going to go ahead and adhere those magnets, and they do stick together, so I have to pull them right back apart. But I'm going to go ahead and adhere the top one anyway. I don't do the bottom one quite yet. And so that's just kind of how it looks, just a little overview of how it looks so far. So this is the little booklet that goes on the right side. I did have someone that asked me if I could do a tutorial on this booklet. So this is going to be that tutorial that will show you guys how I do it. And for the booklet, you're going to need one that's 8 1/2 inches wide by 6 inches tall. You're going to score it at 4, turn your paper, and score it at 4 again. And then on the inside page, you will need one page that is 8 1/4 inches wide by 6 inches tall. This is the 110-pound cardstock that I'm using to make the booklet. And you're going to score it at 4 inches, and then you're going to turn it around and score it at 4 inches again. And then you're just going to put those together. The smaller of the two will be on top. The one that's not quite as wide, the one that's 8 1/4 inches wide, you're going to put that one on the top. And I know you guys probably won't be writing in here because I mostly just wrote that with that white pen just so you could see it. But if you do happen to write, be really careful about where you write, because sometimes the paper don't cover that up, and you will see that when I do my flap. I had to actually redo it because I was thinking that it was going to be covered up, but it wasn't. So not at this point right here is the flap that I'm talking about, but you will see later on in the video. So I'm just in here, that right in the middle, as close as I could get it in the middle of that larger page on the bottom there. And I'm just going back over that with my scoring tool there to make sure it is good and adhered. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my seam binding to my cover, the front cover. You want to make sure you do this before you add your designer paper if you're going to use seam binding. And I just adhere it down with my gun there. I can't even think of the name of it, but anyway, I just adhere it down there, and then I stretch it across to the other side and just mark it, because I want those two seam bindings to meet up straight. And you can see where I marked it. I just do a little small place right there and put my seam binding there, cut it in half, and then it should be straight across from each other, and you know, enough. Make sure you use enough of seam binding that you can tie it. Don't cut it too short, because if you cut it too short, you'll have to start over. So right here, I'm just going to add my designer paper to the left flap there. And this is some red glitter paper, and that's a spellbinder's die that I used. And to get that red glitter paper, you just turn your spellbinder's die upside down on the glitter paper, and then cut it out with your scissors. So that's the way I do it. And you can have that little border that'll show up like that. And I did go around and ink everything with the Black Sut Distress Inks by Tim Holtz. I don't think I showed that in here because it was kind of a last minute thing. And so I did ink all of my designer paper with that. And right here I'm just going around the edge with that dry as clear glue to make sure those little edges lay down good, because if you don't, they can stick up and you could tear them off. So I just went around the edges with that really good with that detail point on there. And just adhering the glue there. That's one of my favorite glues. The what is that? Fabri-Tac. It won't warp your paper, and if you glue, you know, two pieces of paper together, it won't warp it like some glues will. So I really like it. It's kind of expensive, so I do use a coupon at Michael's when I buy that. And like I said, I do use this Distress ink on all of my pages, but I don't think I just now showing it, so. And that's the spellbinder's die that I use to get that edge right there. And that can be kind of tricky sometimes. That's why I didn't really show it in this video, because you can use a punch there or anything that you have, or you can just use it, you know, straight. You can just use a square edge there. So I didn't really want to show that tutorial because I didn't know if you guys were really interested in that, but it can be kind of tricky when you do this. To me, it is anyway. But I think it's a really nice looking finish to it. And for this designer paper, I don't measure that. I just put it up there, and I have a pencil that I mark it off, you know, the way I like it. So that's why I don't give any measurements on the designer paper, because I don't measure it. Like I said, I just put my designer paper over the black paper and take a pencil and mark it, and then I cut it. So there's really no measurements at all there, and it's really just easier to do that. But if you wanted to come down. You could come down 1/4 of an inch. That's what I used to do when I first started crafting. And I would just measure 1/4 of an inch smaller than what the black cardstock would be. I hope that makes sense. And these are my waterfall pages right here. And I have 5 of those with the black cardstock. They measure 6.5 inches wide by 5 inches tall. This is a 65-pound cardstock. You're going to score it at 1/2 inch on the 5-inch side on each one, and there's 5 of them. And then I did punch that out with that punch. You don't have to do that, but I did use a punch there. And if you don't use a punch, you may have to change the measurements a little bit, or they may be too long to fit in that area. So just kind of be aware of that. And these are your 10 pages that are going to go on the waterfalls, the front and back of the waterfalls. So you need 10 of those, and I did do the black set around those, the distress inks around that. I've already laid the first one down. I think my camera cut off or something. I didn't even realize it. So I just put that flap down and glued it, and then I'm just going to go through and do the rest of them. And you can kind of see here how I do them. And this is just the way I do them. There might be better ways. I'm having a hard time with that glue again, but there may be better ways on how to do this. This is just the way that I like to do them. So. And if you do have paper that, I call it directional paper, if it has a scene or something on it and it has to go one way or it'll look like it's upside down, just be really careful when you do a waterfall, because when you flip it up, it will be upside down if it has a scene. So you have to remember to flip your paper as well, or it will be upside down, if that matters to you. And if you have paper that, is not directional, it won't matter. You can do it either way. And I didn't show how to embellish this folio, because there's so many different ways that you can embellish it. You certainly don't have to do it like I did. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea on how I did do it. I didn't show how to put any of the tags or any of the cutouts from the paper collection or anything like that. But because like I said, there's so many different ways, but hopefully you can get the gist of this and be able to see, what I did do. So I'm going to go ahead and add my second magnet here before I put my designer paper down. And for some reason, if that magnet would have been up in there where my die cut is, you can always just cut out a little piece of paper, maybe, anything that comes from the paper collection, and just put over that and use it for part of the decoration. That's what I had to do on the Halloween one. I just cut out something and put over that, but on this one it worked out fine. And sometimes that does happen, and you can just fix it by just doing that. So this is the little booklet. I did go ahead and add my designer paper to it. And like I said before, it's 8.5 inches across by 6 inches tall. And you will score that on the 4-inch side, and you turn your paper. It's scored again on the 4. inch. And I think right here is where I was telling you guys, be careful where you write on the little flap there. Because that is the little flap that covers, that goes on the outside of your booklet, or the hinge. It is 2.5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. And then I do use that punch on that. On the 2.5 inch side, you're going to score it at 1 inch. Then you're going to turn your paper around and you're going to score it at 1 inch again. But as you can see, well, I don't even think I, make a big deal of it, but the writing won't be covered up there. So I had to just throw that piece of paper away and redo that. So this is the redone one that there's no writing on it. And so you're just going to glue that to your little booklet, and it just makes it have a pretty little front part on it. You could just skip this part if you didn't want to have that. But you're only going to put the glue right there where the die cut, the punch is. And I'm going to take this glue here and just go over those little edges so they won't stick up, because you don't want to tear your paper. And then you're going to put the other glue on the inside. Don't put it on the back flap, and you'll see why in just a minute. But put it on the front and then on the part that goes on the booklet, the hinge on the booklet. I hope that makes sense. Just don't put it on the back part. You want to leave that open because you're going to actually adhere that to your folio, and so it can open and close. The book can open and close. See, there's no glue there, so just make sure you don't put it there. And then I'm going to adhere that down. Just that flap is all I'm going to adhere. I'm not going to adhere the back of the book or anything like that. Just that little flap where my fingers are. And that way your book can come up. And I went ahead and adhered the design paper on all the pieces before I adhered it down, because it's just easier to do it that way. So you're just going to put glue right there, and that's it. Make sure before you put it down that it fits in your book good. You don't want it hanging over the edge or anything like that. And then that'll tie with a bow, so it can, can be adjusted as it needs to be. And I'm just kind of going back over that so you guys can see how it looks. And then I think I just adhere my paper to the rest of it, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.